All right. So once you have completed your session, and even as you're going through your session, you're going to want to be thinking about the following week's session. And essentially, the way that we do that is based upon performance with the chosen weight on essentially this week's or this day's training program, right? So, as you can kind of see, the rep goal here is between 10 and 12. Okay, so on these top two exercises, we're going for 10 to 12. And that's just a random example, but typically we'll give ranges. Sometimes your coach might not give you ranges, and then the same principles would apply, although the range is much smaller. Obviously, the range is actually the exact number. Okay, so we have two sets here: dumbbell flat fly and dumbbell bent over rows. So these are the examples that we're going to be using. All right, so you can see here we have two sets, 10 to 12 reps goal, right? And on the flat fly, we did 15 with 15 pounds and 15 again for 15 pounds. That means we basically overshot our reps a little bit, utilizing that 15 pounds. So we're going to have to go a little heavier on the following week, okay? Now the following one, we did two sets, 10 to 12 again is the goal, but here we only got 8 reps twice with the 30 pounds. So essentially underperformed a little bit, right? So what you can do there is, since it's not within the rep range, is you go to the end of the session, and I kind of like to just do this after each superset round or after each straight set of exercises. I will go through, and with the weight rating, we're going to go to, on this one, we're going to say that it was light, right? Very easy to do 15 repetitions. That's over the rep range, so we're going to put it to light. The following one, we're going to go and add it to, we'll say, moderate. It was a little bit too heavy, but not super far off. Okay, now on the following week here, essentially we see a little bit of a progression of weights here. So 10 pounds up, that's going to bring that rep range down. And then you can also see that the rep range is, the weight actually did go up a little bit here, but not as much. Okay, and if it was a bigger, basically, like let's say they got 6 repetitions, then I would probably put it to heavy, which would actually drop that weight down a little bit and then bring those reps up. But hopefully, you're going to see kind of a progression from week to week, and the sheet auto-populates and auto-regulates based upon that, okay? But yeah, that's essentially how you do it. If the exercise was really easy, or if you felt like you overperformed on it, or underperformed, I should say, where you didn't hit enough repetitions for the goal, you can put it to heavy. If it was super, super easy and you went over the rep goal, you can go to light. If it's kind of in between, or maybe you hit the bottom end of the rep range, you're going to want to try to go a little heavier on the next week, okay? Just because we're trying to progress week to week as much as possible. Now, if you think that, you're, okay, I did the rep range, I was in the middle, but I don't think I could go any heavier, otherwise it's going to push me down a lot. Like you might see that on dumbbell side raises, okay? Dumbbell side raises or isolation exercises, you're going to see a smaller progression, okay? Now, as you kind of go through with it, I'm just going to change these back to add. Another thing to kind of think about is, you know what, I didn't get any good pump in the actual targeted muscle. So you can always look at the targeted muscle back at column A here, which is chest and then back, okay? So you kind of be like, I didn't really get a good pump in my chest. I don't really feel any soreness, kind of just meh. I feel like I could do a lot more. I'm not really fatigued from that. You can go ahead and do a set additive, and then on the dumbbell, it might have been a little bit too hard. Maybe you were like, man, it was super, super hard. However, I think I could do it one more time. You just keep, you know what? Coach had 4 sets in there, and I had to like dig deep, right? Hashtag grind to get through it. Then you could go ahead and be like, yep, I'm going to drop it down by 1. And sometimes your coach might specify that they're going to do this for you, but typically we like to auto-regulate and have the client auto-regulate. So that's essentially how you use those. And it might seem like a lot, but you're essentially just going through. Imagine you'd only have to do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for that actual workout. It would take you a couple of seconds to do so, just a drop down. And then I would highly recommend you go to the client use key at the first here tab, and at the top you're going to see what these ratings kind of mean. The weight change, how much it's changing the weight. Your coach might change that, but then they would also change this. So if you see yours is a little bit different, don't be alarmed. And then this is the set rating modifier. So you can go ahead and kind of look at these. Or if you ever forget, you can go back to that and see what you're actually kind of doing. So if it was 1, all sets that you had programmed were extremely hard afterwards, and you had essentially very bad soreness. Had soreness. But yeah, essentially that's kind of it. And then like this one, all sets that you had programmed felt easy afterwards, and you had little to no soreness the rest of the day or days after, right? We could probably do a little bit more. So soreness is a good proxy as well. That's how you do it. Sorry, this video got a little bit long. I just want to make sure that we got in depth with this one, and I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate all the work that you've been putting in to with your training program.